Hello friends, welcome to Finovo. Recently, Malaysia's former Prime Minister Najib Razak was sentenced to 12 years of jail term on 28th of July 2020. Allegations included diversion of around $4.5 billion to private pockets. Also, US bank Goldman Sachs made a $3.9 billion settlements with the Malaysian government for its role in the multi-billion dollar corruption scheme. Let us understand what and how exactly happened. Back in July 2009, when Najib Razak became the Prime Minister of Malaysia, he founded One Malaysia Development Berhad, or 1MDB. 1MDB is a sovereign wealth fund. Sovereign wealth fund means a fund which is owned by government and used for the development activity of the economy. The money in this fund may be contributed by government, private sector players, or other foreign funds. In September 2009, 1MDB entered into a $2.5 billion joint venture with private Saudi oil company PetroSaudi International. In 2012, Goldman Sachs was appointed to raise funds through the sale of bonds for 1MDB. Nearly $6.5 billion were raised by 2013. For raising this amount, Goldman charged $600 million in fees. Yes, $600 million for raising $6.5 billion. It sounds fishy, isn't it? Also, Razak, the former Prime Minister, pocketed billions of dollars and laundered it to other countries. A small group of Malaysians led by Malaysian financier Joe Low diverted money into his personal accounts disguised to look like legitimate businesses. The money was also laundered to many foreign countries, including US and UK. The funds were laundered in US and abroad through a series of complex transactions and shell companies. Shell companies means a company that does not have any active business of its own. It may not have any significant assets as well. This kind of company is mainly created for illegal purposes. The embezzled funds were also routed on occasions through the accounts of Low's father and brother. According to US prosecutors, more than $6.5 billion flowed from 1MDB through a complex web of opaque transactions and fraudulent shell companies to finance spending by corrupt officials and their associates. Bribery is also figured in the 1MDB scandal. Bribes were offered by Goldman Sachs to officials in 1MDB and Malaysian government to allow Goldman to arrange and underwrite the bond issues in 2012 and 2013 for a very high underwriting fee. False statements were also made from time to time by senior officials of 1MDB to the 1MDB board, Malaysian Central Bank, and to the banks from which loans were acquired. A further malpractice was the mispricing of 1MDB bonds and their sale to the chosen investors in a private placement. Mispricing was carried out by setting of interest rates above market rate for government guaranteed debt. The scandal came in light in 2015 when 1MDB missed a loan payment of about $550 million. Then Malaysia's government, under pressure, set up a special task force to investigate 1MDB. Also, in January 2015, around 227,000 leaked documents related to fraud were handed to Sarawak Report editor and to the Wall Street Journal. The documents were reportedly leaked by a Swiss banker who had previously worked with PetroSaudi. It gave rise to investigations not only in Malaysia but in other countries where embezzled and other illicit money was deposited and laundered. The investigations were intensified in 2018 with the change of Malaysian government. Later, after investigation by US Justice Department, it was found that over $730 million were laundered to Razak's account. The money was used to buy properties in US and UK, luxury real estate in Paris, artworks, large amount of expensive jewelry, and for financing films including the very famous The Wolf of Wall Street and Daddy's Home. Last year, Mahathir bin Mohamad, who is Prime Minister of Malaysia, charged Goldman Sachs with making false and misleading statements, with penalties to the tune of $3.5 billion. This was later settled between the Malaysian government and Goldman. Several cases have been filed against Razak, including 21 cases of money laundering and 4 cases of abuse of power. For each case, he could face 15 to 20 years of prison. The trial held on 28th of July 2020 relates to one of the many cases in which he was sentenced to 12 years of prison. This case study ends here. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe Finovo for amazing new videos. See you in the next one.